Hi, I'm Cindo Peterson, one of the ministers here at Trillium United Church. This summer, our reflection times during worship are themed around walking with the Spirit. Each of our guest ministers or our ministry staff are going to be reflecting on that overall theme, walking with the Spirit. The sub-theme that I chose was walking with the Spirit, embracing change. I live by the mantra, change is the only constant. And I believe that. So why do we resist, deny, ignore, push it away so much? Humans have evolved, and the word itself means change, into a species that creates more change than any other creature. And yet at the same time, we resist and push change away. It's one of the paradoxes that I'm fascinated with. We drive change forward, and at the same time, we resist change at all cost. In that paradox, living in paradoxes, we tend to create obsessions. So we become obsessed with controlling change, either driving it forward or resisting it. What I'm putting forward to each of you is, what if we didn't try to control change so much, but embraced change? It's a paradigm shift in the way we think, in the way we act, in the way we carry out our relationships with one another. So there's a few easy steps about embracing change as opposed to trying to control change. So, number one, reduce expectations. We have high expectations from ourselves, of our family, our career, and our church family especially. We can have reasonable expectations, but if we lower our expectations on outcomes and don't marry ourselves to it, we have less of a disappointed attitude when things don't turn out our way, because they are not always and often not going to turn out our way. So just lower your expectations. And in that, very act itself, you are embracing change. Number two is acknowledge change happens. Constantly is what I would say. Change is happening all around us. Observe it and acknowledge it. Again, it's changing the shift away from that denial or resistance of change. Accepting change happens. The next thing we have to do is accept the change itself. It's hard, but we can do it. If change is going to happen, why not accept it? What we're called to do is look for those transformative moments during the changing process. Embracing that change, accepting and embracing that change, can lead us to profound moments of transformation, wisdom, and new ways of being. I always say retooling ourselves, or putting new tools in that basket. When we accept and embrace change, we can live a new way. Learn from the experience. Once we accept and embrace change, we begin to look for the learnings in this change that's happening either in us or around us. Sometimes when the change is drastic, hurtful, unbeneficial, we need to go through the experience first before we can start to look at the learnings. But after time, we can reflect back on the change and look at what's opening up inside us. How did the change transform us? What can we learn from it? And when we reflect on this, often what we learn can be profound to ourselves. The next point is recognize you're growing stronger. After you accept, embrace, and learn from change, you inevitably grow stronger. Your ability to continuously accept change allows you to become like a rock, solid, adhered to the ground amidst all the storms of change in your life. The next point is nothing in this earthly realm is permanent. Most main faiths of the world have this philosophy. We're invited into the understanding that nothing here is permanent, neither good nor bad. We tend to create in our minds that things are going to always be the same. It's permanent. This is the way it is. But it's not. And that creates the struggle in us to resist change. If we can embrace the concept of impermanence, we can let go again of those outcomes, and wisdom grows and transforms us. Which leads us to the last point, to embrace the wisdom. Once we embrace and accept change and learn from it and know that things are going to constantly change around us, the wisdom is laid before us. We grow in wisdom. We grow in something the Bible often refers to as transformational ways. We are invited to be that divine being Jesus calls us to share in, that one love, that understanding that we are all one. When I was reflecting on Jesus' call about change, most of his teachings are very positive in their language. And one of the things about embracing change is the invitation for us to focus on what we can do, not on what we can't do. And if you think about Jesus' teachings and spoken in that positive light, it's always a call to action, to do something. It's not about what you can't do. Jesus calls us into that action, that positive, embracing change, so that we can be transformed. I shared two quotes in our concluding time together that I'd like to share with you. They're pieces of wisdom that come from people who have a deep understanding of change. The first one is by Hazel Henderson, and she is a preeminent British thinker of our time. She says, "If we can recognize that change and uncertainty are basic principles, we can greet the future and the transformation we are undergoing with the understanding that we do not know enough to be pessimistic." And the second piece of wisdom that I'd like to share is from Reinhold Niebuhr, and the words are very familiar to most of us. "God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference." This week, I invite you into that wisdom. I invite you to embrace change. The question I closed with, and I throw to you as well, what would you do if you came to fully embrace change? I invite you this week on the journey of embracing change. Namaste.